Many years ago, Thailand was beginning to grow as a country, although conflicts between student gangs were also increasing at the same pace. Those battles were based on false beliefs, toxic cultures, and the internal chaos of each teenager. At that time, the four most troublesome vocational institutes were In, Chol, Kanak, and Wu, better known as the Four Kings. After that introduction, the movie takes us back to the present, when a single father named Billy has to deal with the rebellion of his teenage daughter. But to be honest, this time her tantrum is justified, given that Billy intends to attend the Student Father's Day celebration reeking of alcohol. It's the same with him every year. Well, and is already tired of this, to the point that she gets out of the car to avoid showing up at the high school with her father. Just then, Billy witnesses how the place is besieged by some gang members who came to attack the local gang. Em is caught in the chaos, while her father is held in the car by a thug. By the time he gets out, his daughter had already fallen to the gang's vandalism. In a hospital, while waiting for a miracle for his daughter, Billy is visited by his witcher, a professor from Ind who recognizes him from a past they both wanted to forget. Their conversation remains a mystery, for after a transition, we see him back home. In the news, they hear how the wars between vocational schools have only increased, to which Billy reacts with horror. Indignant, she points out he has no moral ground to say that, considering he was also a gang member. The year is 1995. Billy, Sucha, Lupin, and Da walk the streets proudly displaying their gang tattoos. On the way, they stop when they see members of Chol unleashing a brawl right at the bus stop. The result is always the same: a lot of blood. In the hospital, Billy receives support from his colleagues, while his stepfather only visits to express how disappointed he and his mother are. On the other hand, Da receives unexpected news from his girlfriend Ao hasn't had her period for 2 months. That can only mean one thing. Faced with such a situation, Da promises to take responsibility and not disappear like the other guys do. Upon leaving the institute, they spot a gang of both thugs. Although Ao prefers to leave by taxi, Da reminds her that there is an unwritten rule stating they cannot attack each other with their girlfriends present. The members of Bo follow the rule, though not without warning Da that they'll break his face if they find him alone. As night falls, a group of Chol heads to the hospital intending to surprise Bill. However, they end up being surprised when a crazy dealer named Yod pretends to shoot them. And I say pretends because his blank revolver gets jammed. That's what he gets for being a jokester. The gang members of Chol don't take his joke well, especially their leader, who attacks him with a machete until his companion Vode stops him. While Lupin chases his enemy, Bill and Da are attacked by some bikers. If they hadn't ducked, they wouldn't have lived to tell the tale. Once he corners his enemy, Lupin soon discovers that he is the only one cornered. Billy and Da rush to his position, but it's already too late. Later, Billy arrives home only to be humiliated by his stepfather, who boasts that his real son is indeed following in his footsteps. In addition to that, the man claims that Billy's father did a terrible job with him, which offends the boy. In an attempt to defend his father's name, Billy gets slapped and out of pride leaves home, ignoring his mother's tears. With no other options, he heads to DA's house, whose mother welcomes him with open arms. Taking advantage of his visit, Da tells him that Ao is pregnant, news that naturally takes him by surprise. However, Da assures that he will rise to the challenge, no matter what it takes. Eventually, Lupin also finds out about this, and speaking of him, we see that he came out alive from his last encounter. I wonder if he'll have luck in the next one, since Boo's gang is coming in full force. Despite the fact that the In gang has all its soldiers, the leader of Boo, Lao, has a blank revolver. If that wasn't enough, Chol's gang joins the party, blocking the In's escape route. They have no choice but to fight. The gang members are so caught up in the battle that they ignore the arrival of the police, at least until they fire into the air. Those who fail to escape are transported in the same vehicle along with their rivals. Even in those circumstances, they can't stop fighting, with one of the captured proposing to fight a member of Chol in exchange for his release. The police accept the terms, with the condition that the loser will be beaten. That's it, the fight begins. I would say eternal rivals collaborating in parallel. Billy is thrown into the same cell as Maud and Lau, where a guard reminds them that they should be studying instead of fighting. It's because of kids like them that the country can't fully develop. Lau and Maud debate among themselves their reason for fighting, excusing themselves by saying that in the US young people also fight all the time. Hours later, the parents of one of the youngsters appear at the police station. Surprisingly, they're Billy's. However, his stepfather clarified that he didn't come to release him, but to press charges against him for stealing his camera when he left home. Billy is consoled by his father, but he deduces that it was she who told his stepfather about the camera. Disappointed, he asks his mother why she had him if she never really wanted him. Finally, the inevitable happens and Billy is admitted to a juvenile detention center. Just like Maud and Lau, they better settle their differences among themselves or they'll be eaten alive. In this hell, they soon become the targets of the main local gang, led by Ya. Upon seeing Maud, he reminds him that he has unfinished business with him. That doesn't mean he will forgive Billy and Maud either. Faced with provocations, Billy chooses to attack first, but his new companions quickly stop him. Furious, Maud clarifies that here he doesn't have the support of his own. No one does. Far from following the advice, Billy waits for the moment to bathe so he can urinate in his container and throw the gift at Ya. The subsequent fight doesn't last long as the guards quickly restore order. When asked who is responsible for the conflict, Billy doesn't hesitate to take the blame, although to his surprise, Muff also raises his hand. Changing the scene, Da gathers the courage to tell his in-laws that Ao is pregnant. If they didn't like him much already, this ends up exhausting his father-in-law's patience, who throws him out of the house with blows. Returning to prison, Billy and Maud are punished exemplarily for their rebelliousness. Lau, on the other hand, receives a visit from his mother, at which point we see that this arrogant young man has feelings. The rest of the day he spends crying in the bathroom, regretting having put his mother in this situation. Speaking of the bathroom, Billy and Maud are ordered to clean it as part of their punishment. Before they discover him crying, Lau comes out of his hiding place and offers them his help. This is how the three of them start to get along with each other, even acknowledging that out there they fought to have different uniforms, while here everyone wears the same one. Once they get out of this, they promise not to fight again, but to avoid each other in public. It's a pact. Days later, Billy wakes up to the news that his bail has been paid, courtesy of his mother, who, in an attempt to make up for her mistakes, gives him some money to finish his studies. Billy then returns to DA's house, trying to make the most of the second chance. One day, Lupin invites them to a concert to end their last school year on a high note. Billy and Dar agree to go together and watch each other's backs in case problems arise. Changing the subject, Dar asks him about the gift he will give his son when he is born. Billy hasn't thought about it yet, but rest assured that his baby will receive something amazing. Then, Dar answers a call from his girlfriend, who asks if his mother knows the news. He replies he hasn't told her yet, planning to do so after the concert. It's his last chance to be a teen before graduation. Tired of waiting, the gang members go after him during the concert, causing chaos. Fortunately, it doesn't last long, as the guards quickly separate them. At that moment, Billy recognizes two familiar faces among his rivals, Moff and Lo. The other gang members continue to look at each other with hatred, as it is revealed that the Kanak are also present. The four kings in one place. The conclusion is obvious. After the battle, Da calls Ao to fulfill his promise. But hears nothing good. He runs off without explaining to his friends. Already in Ao's neighborhood, Da tries to sneak into her house, unaware a show member was watching him. After a while, Ao's father opens the door with a gun, using his police status to threaten Da with charges. And no, he doesn't leave his daughter alone. Instead, Da insists he can't take away his right to raise his child. It may be that boys like him don't have a clear future, but they do have a heart that makes them deserving of an opportunity. Given his conviction, Ao asks if he can really support her if she decides to have the baby, since her father wants her to abort. Da, as she feared, doesn't know how to respond. Therefore, Ao painfully admits that the best option is to abort, refusing to lead an uncertain life with someone who only fights around. Just then, the Chol gang members arrive in the neighborhood, although Daz is still determined to convince his father-in-law to have the baby. His friends even kneel beside him, asking the same of the man. Seeing this, Maud prevents his colleagues from starting a fight, and the police officer finally lowers his weapon. Sometime later, we see that Billy and his friends have graduated with good news, especially Da, who plans to get a good job to support his future baby. Lupin, surprisingly, is the first to get a job, so Billy and his go out to dinner with him to celebrate. Just as they arrive at the restaurant, they run into the Chol, although Billy sits down to order as if nothing happened. And it's because his friend Maud is one of those present. He even asks for permission to sit and drink with his Chol colleagues. The leader agrees on the condition that Billy serves the drinks, which he does without complaint. Having done this, Billy returns to his friends, proclaiming that the days of senseless fighting are over. More calmly, he excuses himself for a few minutes to look for Dar at the stall. Seeing that Billy and Lupin are left alone, the leader of the Chol changes his mind about the truce. Although Maud tries to stop him, the fight still breaks out. In the heat of the battle, a newly freed Yod appears to settle his unfinished business with Billy. With everyone. When Yad is about to finish him off, Da and his Witcher attack him by surprise, but they fail to disarm him. Jad's escape and his group Bill and his friends try to save Da, although the damage is already done. Her mother receives the worst news. At Da's funeral, Billy promises to take care of his future child. This is how we return to the present, when Billy reunites with Lupin and tells her that Am is actually adopted. She has always been Da's daughter. Upon returning from school, Am scolds her father for having drinks with her teacher, emphasizing how embarrassed she feels. Faced with this, Sucha admits to Am that he is as guilty as Billy for her father's tragedy. Their apologies certainly won't bring Da back, they will say, but it's also not fair to put all that burden on Billy. Thanks to these words, Am remembers that Billy has always been in her life, supporting her grandmother financially and taking care of her after her death. However, he has also made mistakes and there are days when he doesn't seem to care about her. That makes her wonder if he really loves her or just feels responsible. It is Billy himself who resolves her doubts. He has always loved her. And that's how this great movie ends. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and thanks for